Welcome to the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Sunday, August 22nd. Today we will continue to have significant smoke impacts from fires in California across much of the northern half of Nevada into northern Utah and southern Idaho. This smoke will continue and spread eastward and drift north also through Monday and Tuesday. Otherwise, weather should be fairly quiet. Most showers and thunderstorms have moved off to the east. We may have a few remaining showers and thunderstorms over parts of Wyoming into far northeast Utah today and tomorrow, but for the most part, drier and gradually warming conditions are expected across the Great Basin with continued breezy winds. So again, the smoke this afternoon will move into much of northern and western Nevada into northern Utah, and then by tomorrow continue spreading east and north. We are seeing these similar conditions aloft as well. Over the last 24 hours, we had significant lightning associated with another cold front moving across the Great Basin, mainly across Idaho, Wyoming, into northern Utah, and also into parts of northeast Nevada, with a few thunderstorms in southeast Utah. The heavier amounts of rainfall were reported over eastern Idaho and Wyoming and into northern Utah. Many of these areas saw over 3/4 of an inch of rainfall, and some areas over an inch of rainfall. Further west into western and central Idaho and also across southern Idaho, these rainfall amounts were a little bit more sporadic. We saw mainly a mix of wet and dry storms. Over southwest and southern Idaho, rainfall amounts were less than 1/10 of an inch on average, and up into central Idaho, most of the rainfall amounts were between 1/10 and 1/4 of an inch. Great Basin fire activity was light yesterday across the area with just some new smaller fires reported. Over the last 7 days, we saw precipitation mainly over the eastern half of the Great Basin, and in most of these areas, these were more significant, longer duration wetting rains. However, over the last couple of weeks, we've continued to see drier conditions over the western half of the Great Basin. This precipitation in southwest Idaho is not representative of what we saw yesterday, but again, these amounts are still on the lighter side, and precipitation was likely still below normal. Looking at our current ERCs, we have seen ERCs drop with the recent cold front, cooler temperatures, higher humidity, and some showers and thunderstorms. Some of the drier spots still are across the western half of Nevada, where ERCs are generally at the highest, between about the 70th and 80th percentile. We did see ERCs drop in Idaho, but still remain between about the 50th and 70th percentile in some areas. Looking at some of our ERC charts, you can see in Idaho where those ERCs dropped, they are now below normal for the time of year. And over western Nevada, where they still remain elevated with drier conditions, ERCs are near to above normal. Looking at our satellite picture from this morning, you can see the trough of low pressure and cold front has now moved east into the Rockies, the northern Rockies, the eastern side of Montana and Wyoming. So we will again see a general breezy westerly flow across the Great Basin with drier conditions. Looking at the weather pattern for later this afternoon, again warmer and drier. We will see our significant fire potential still quite low over much of the northern third of the Great Basin and over the eastern half of the region, with still moderate fire potential over western areas that remain dry. Today, winds will be weaker than what we saw yesterday across Nevada and Utah, but still breezy with gusts in the 20s to around 30 miles per hour in some spots of the southern half of the Great Basin and also over parts of central and eastern Idaho into Wyoming. Relative humidity will drop into the low teens over the western half of the region and still remain above 20% over much of central and eastern Idaho into Wyoming and also across much of Utah. As we move into Monday, again, warmer and drier conditions, we'll continue to see troughs of low pressure move across the Pacific Northwest into the northern Rockies, so we will keep some breezy winds at times, but definitely drier conditions. Relative humidity drops into the single digits or low to mid-teens in many areas. We will still have some breezy winds, again, out ahead of these systems moving by to our north over much of eastern Idaho into Wyoming, where wind gusts could reach 30 to 40 miles per hour at times. But again, relative humidity will remain a little bit higher where these winds will be the strongest, and also we have seen recent wetting rains. Over southern areas of the Great Basin, again, we'll continue with breezy winds as well. Moving into Tuesday, again, still same weather pattern with warmer and dry conditions, with troughs of low pressure moving into the Pacific Northwest. You will see areas of eastern Nevada into southern and southwest Idaho drying out as we move into the early to mid portion of the week, but still low fire potential continues over the eastern half of the region. Relative humidity drops into the single digits and low teens over a greater area on Tuesday. Again, still breezy winds with gusts in the 20s over much of central and southern areas of the Great Basin, and we will see winds pick up again along the Sierra front, more of the typical afternoon Washoe zephyr, so general gusts in the 20s, maybe up towards 30 miles per hour in the windy spots. Forecast amounts of precipitation are almost zero across the Great Basin. Again, those remaining showers and thunderstorms over far eastern sides of the area, both today and tomorrow, could bring some isolated thunderstorms and very light precipitation, but for the most part, drier conditions across the Great Basin. These drier conditions will continue in most areas going into the middle of the week. Some moisture does creep north into parts of southern and eastern Utah for some isolated showers and thunderstorms towards Wednesday, but again, any of these thunderstorms occurring over areas where fuels are not critical. Going into Thursday, that dry air continues to spread eastward once again, and going into Friday and Saturday, we are expecting drier conditions. However, by the weekend, we will start to see some of that moisture move up again into southern and eastern Utah, so possibly another return of thunderstorms. But again, we will continue to see the warmer and drier weather affect the western half of the Great Basin, and we will see that fire potential and fire danger gradually tick back upwards going through next week. No big changes in the 7-day total precip. Again, just some showers and thunderstorms potentially for southern and eastern Utah by the middle of the week and also towards next weekend, otherwise drier conditions across the area. Looking at the 8 to 14-day outlook, taking us into the first week in September. Generally warm and drier conditions for the Great Basin, but we will see a return of that monsoon moisture, again, mostly starting next weekend and going into the early part of September. Really anywhere you see this green area or gray is where we're likely to see that moisture, so over the southern half of the Great Basin, with again drier conditions continuing across Idaho, Wyoming, and into western Nevada. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back tomorrow for the latest updates.